Okay, so I
Yep.
do have a question for everybody out there, and that is we're going to be talking about automated follow-ups next. So I just want to know what's your familiarity with these. So we're going to launch another poll. If you could just let me know, how often are you using the automated follow-ups? Now, we're obviously going to be talking about what these are and how we can use them a little bit better in our business here in the next few minutes. But I do want to just get what is your familiarity? Ooh, there's a big word with each of these things. Okay, so it looks like most people have heard about them, but they don't use them a ton. So, Steve, can you walk us through just a general sense of what is the automated follow-up sequence?
Totally. So I promise after today I will not say totally ever again. Um, so so automated follow-up sequences are critically important to what I call, and I'm using air quotes, owned contacts. What this means is somebody has given you some piece of information that allows you to follow up and actually essentially own the relationship. You don't need to spend more ad dollars to get in front of them necessarily. You don't need to go show up to their door and remind them that you're their friendly realtor. Um, this is something that you own and you have now. You have their email address, right? So this is as free as it gets at this point, and it needs to be levered.
Okay, so jumping back and just to talk about automated follow-up sequences, Steve, we were talking about, we have a couple questions on how to process these. So how often are we going to send them out? What is the cadence that we want to send these out? What types of content should go out? Now, I know we talked about how there are different phases, but is there something specific that we can talk about? And what channels and generic versus personalized content should we be sending out? Now, I know that was a lot of questions all at once, but they're all in one slide. So I'll leave it to you.
Cool, yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I'm having all sorts of issues over here. All good though. Cool. So let's first start with cadence. So cadence is probably the second most important thing because you do not want to be the person that's emailing somebody every single day. You do not want to be the person that like causes people to wince when they see your name. That's no fun for anybody. So cadence is critical. Typically, what I encourage for that top of funnel like educational style of messaging, I encourage that you do a cadence of like once every 10 to 14 days, and then accelerate as people get closer to that actual home buying or selling decision. What I mean by that is, if every signal says that they are likely to list soon, you definitely want to increase the cadence and frequency so that there's no other choice but you, right? But a good rule of thumb to start with is every 10 to 14 days for a drip campaign. The types of content I kind of alluded to. Obviously, top of funnel is more educational, more around like brand, more around the industry at large. So things like market reports, right? Things like here are the steps that are required for buying or selling a home. As they move downstream or later stage in that funnel, you would pepper in things more about you. What are your specialties, right? Do you primarily focus on reloads and that's your bread and butter? Then start peppering in some of that information or some of that messaging. And then when they're ready to, when you think that they are ready to list or purchase with you, that's when you do really the hard sell style content, right? Like, hey, let's get on the phone. Hey, let's grab coffee. Would love to talk about the neighborhoods that you're interested in. Hey, let's, all of those sort of things. Some of those like assumptive like closes, right? The channels really email, right? Email and text are like the world that we live in now. And I personally don't believe email is going anywhere anytime soon, but some do. And a lot of people are seeing a lot of success with text. The point is, it's less about the channel really. It's more about like the intention and the I guess it's really the intention behind what you're sending, when, and to who, right? And then that's what kind of segues into generic versus personalized. I think top of funnel stuff, you can keep generic. That's broader market information, broader, real estate, home buying or selling process information. Some of the things that are like, I know you have a pulse, but I don't know like where you are or what you're interested in. It's content that anybody could digest and get some value out of. As you move, later into that process, though, that's when you want to start delivering personalized or more personalized content. And what I mean by that is, no, don't handwrite an email for every person in your database. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can introduce some basic principles. So one principle could be, if you're using like MailChimp or something like that, you can start using tags to say, okay, these 100 contacts are interested in urban areas, so I'm going to tag them with urban, and now that's a separate segment that I can personalize a message, quote unquote personalized. It's still to a broad audience, but it's relevant and focused towards them. You could do things like field merges, right? Like, so you can pull in their first name into the body or the message. And the point is just to tailor the content a little bit more as they go downstream, so that the message that they're receiving is highly relevant.
I like that. And, especially with that generic versus personalized portion, I think you hit on a good point, which is, you don't want to send a personalized email to everybody in your database. Let's say you've got 5,000 people in a database. You don't want to be writing out all of those emails, especially if we're trying to stay in contact with everybody once a month, or even if it's once a quarter. There's still a lot of people that we might have in that database. Even if it's a few hundred people, that's a lot of hours that we're going to be working on that. So it sounds like, and maybe you can just confirm this for me, it sounds like when we're working on that first phase, the first stage in the selling pipeline, that is, when we're trying to get people to work with us and just commit and say, yes, I'm ready to buy or sell, it sounds like we can use an email that has some generic content in it. So something like some market trends, or maybe a little paragraph about myself. So it's personalized in the sense that it's about me. It's something that I'm trying to give my personality to, but it's not necessarily personalized to a person. So it's not to the Smiths. It's just about my business. So once we get into the later stages, into the sales flow, like for example, when we're staging the home or getting ready to close, that's when the content can become a little bit more personalized. So I guess my question is what percentage do you think we should work on sending out this marketing as generic versus personalized? Uh-oh, did we lose you again? Are you on mute?
Sorry. I was muted. I said, oh, that's a good question.
Okay.
Again, I'll go back to, like, it depends on where people are in your funnel, but I would say a healthy mix, like 50-50 is good, because it allows you to do two things. And so I'll kind of share a strategy that we use here at Buyside, in some of our like prospecting and stuff. When we sell to brokers, we have more generic content positioned as if it's coming from Buyside, the brand, right? So the from is Buyside and what have you, and the content is more generic, right? But then on top of that, we also have some personalized, and they look like personal emails, but automated sequences that look like they come from myself, right? And so we keep a healthy mix because it's effectively two separate at bats, and each has its own purpose, right? There's the more like broader corporate communications or more like announcement style stuff, and then the more targeted and focused personalized messaging, right? So I'd say 50-50 or just like balanced across all is a healthy mix, to be completely candid. And I know that sounds like a non-answer, but it is the truth.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's important to say, is that they're both important. It is something that, is going to help your business to be able to do one of these. So if we're looking at this and thinking, well, I want to pick one, that really the answer is there's different times for each of those, much in the same way that there's different types of ways that you talk to your clients, whether it be in the marketing section or we're closing, you're going to talk to your client a different way.